initially, after reporting, kind of things moved very quickly. And so I was, interrogated by the police. I had to go through forensic examination. After that, sort of kind of very quick process, it kind of went very quiet, and I didn't really hear anything for a long time. 6 months later, roughly, I was recontacted by the police, and they unfortunately let me know that the perpetrator had been rearrested for the same crime. At that point, it felt as though the investigation was picking back up. They asked to take my phone for download, take the clothes I was wearing that day, those kind of things.
This was 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months after the fact.
You were raped.
Exactly. After which point, I kind of had hope again that maybe the investigation was going to go somewhere. But unfortunately, again, after that point, we kind of had sporadic, occasional meetings at the police station where they were, quote unquote, updating me, but there was never anything to really update me on apart from the fact that, the lead detective of the case had left and that there would be a new one. And this happened, I think, 5 times throughout the investigation, so there was never any real continuity with the investigation until sort of the last year, I would say. So it was really, really challenging emotionally because I had to keep my head above water and also try and just get on with my life while all of this was kind of ticking away in the background, and I was waiting for updates and some kind of breakthrough or, news of any kind. But unfortunately, they were very few and far between.
Given the number of rape cases that actually get to court, for you to have your investigation closed, then reopen, and finally get a court date, how did you feel about that? Because, looking at the statistics, the odds were not in your favour.
No, they were not in my favour at all. I feel, I suppose, lucky, very lucky that I got to the stage I did, because, as you say, it is very unusual. But I also am aware that it took a lot of strength to get there, and I think I knew that I felt I had a duty, basically, because I knew that the perpetrator would do it again. And so I felt it was my civic duty to carry on, and luckily I had people in my life who agreed with me and supported me.
I'm in great admiration of your strength and for your friends and family for helping you find that and take this to court. I don't know how you feel though, when you describe yourselves as lucky, I feel really angry.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be lucky to get your day in court, to make your rapist answer for his crimes. Do you get angry about that system that made you wait 5 years, made you fight to get the investigation reopened? Do you feel angry about that?
I felt angry, betrayed, sad, all of the emotions for such a long time. At this point, I've kind of let go of all those feelings, but yes, they're there somewhere. I'm just able to see the other side of it now because we did get to court and we did get a guilty verdict. And so finally, I'm able to start to move on. But it felt at some stages completely impossible and like we would never ever get there. And it's an awful thing to have to go through.
We talk about rape myths. Myths that are unfortunately common out there about rape and what a woman does to become a victim of rape. They're permeated through society and find their way into the courtroom, particularly when you are being questioned by the opposing legal counsel. And you experienced some of that in the line of questioning that was directed at you. 2 common rape myths. Women lie about being raped because they regret having had sex with someone. And also women are asking for it because they wear revealing clothes or flirt. Now that's it in its sort of basest terms,
Yes.
but in a rather clever line of questioning, it was dressed up a little different for you, but you felt that those myths were in that courtroom and put to you to try and answer.
Oh, undeniably, I think they were, and I imagine that they're probably in most courtrooms for those kind of crimes, because what else can you really say? You know, it's your word against the other person's word. I was shown CCTV from, as I say, you know, 5 years prior, because by the point I was in court, it had been more than 5 years since the incident, and I was shown CCTV footage of myself pulling up my top and sort of, I suppose, you know,
Readjusting
myself,
Yeah.
exactly. And I was asked what I was doing. And I had to tell a courtroom of strangers, you know, basically I was readjusting myself. But you're not allowed to sort of not give enough detail, so you have to kind of divulge and give more detail, and it's very embarrassing, and I think they definitely play on the fact that it's embarrassing. Personally, I knew that if that's what they were pointing to, then I kind of felt relieved, because I knew they didn't really have anything. And you don't know, you know, I think one of the terrifying things throughout the investigation that took so long is you don't know what the other side is saying. You don't know what their story is. And you find out on the stand, live, so to speak. And it was a very terrifying and difficult experience to go through. And it took a lot of, I think the only word I can use is strength, really. It took a lot of strength to stand there and listen to basically accusations, I would call them, especially, you know, people don't like accusations at the best of times, but when it's relating to the most difficult, horrible thing that's ever happened to you, it's even more difficult to put up with.
He got 19 years
Yeah.
for his crimes. It's a long sentence.
It is, yeah.
How did you feel?
Absolutely bowled over and shocked. I was in the courtroom when that was announced, and I think everybody was shocked. It was a very strange day in general. I had brought family and my partner with me for their support. And the intention was for them to come into the courtroom with me and be there for the sentencing. But actually the perpetrator had brought so many of his friends and family that there wasn't room for my family to come into the court. And they were made to be and sit in another room and be video linked in. So already that, you know, you kind of, I suppose, it's an anecdotal experience of an example of how things never pan out the way you think they are. I had to give a victim impact statement as well, as did the other girl. And that was a really good opportunity to voice all of the emotion that I had bottled up for so long. And actually in the impact statement, I told him that although he hadn't asked for forgiveness, I forgave him. And from that moment on, I intended to move on with my life.
If any women are watching this interview right now, you talk about strength, and you had a great support network around you to get you that far, to get you over every hurdle. This report that's come out doesn't make good reading, does it, in terms of the build-up, the process, and after any kind of court process for a victim of sexual assault or rape. It's no wonder women don't want to report it, let alone take it even further.
Yeah.
What would you say to those women?
I would say to those women, even if you feel that you're not necessarily in a position to put up with how difficult the process is going to be, because it is going to be difficult. I hope at some stage that it becomes easier on the victim, but it is currently difficult. I would say that there's incredible organisations, and I would say that there's so so much support out there for victims, and I implore you to try and do your best to not only get justice for yourself, but make the world as safe as it can be, because as we say, it's so difficult to get to that point, but standing here today, I can say I'm really glad that I did.